Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're building a home lab, you know how fast things get messy, like having 100 or more URLs and having to remember them when you want to access those applications. So today I'm going to show you how to take control with the homepage dashboard, which is a clean, customizable, self-hosted portal for all your services. And we're going to do it behind Traefik. So by the end of this video, you will have a beautiful, secure, self-hosted dashboard accessible via a custom domain that you're going to choose for your setup. So what is homepage? As described on their website, it is a modern dashboard built for home lab. It runs in Docker. It supports widgets and services. As you can see, they have integration of over 100 services. Among those services, you can think of like your Pi Home, Uptime Kuma, Proxy, and so on. And with this setup, you're going to get a centralized, beautiful overview of your setup. And remember, at the top of it, we're going to set it behind Traefik, so it will be safely accessible using a real domain, which will be HTTPS, because Traefik has a SSL certificate through Let's Encrypt. So you're going to have something like homepage.local.your domain name, and going to be using IP addresses and ports. So what do you need to have to start setting up a homepage? So you're going to need a Linux server or a VM with Docker and Docker-compose installed. Down in the description, you're going to find a link on my other video on how to set up Docker and Docker-compose. The second thing you'll need is Traefik already running, and we are going to use labels as we have used when setting up container and Vault Warden, as well as our test app in previous videos. Again, I'm going to link the video on how to set up Traefik on the description below. And the other thing you need is a DNS entry for your setup. For example, you can call it homepage.local.example.com. So replace example with your domain name and .com with your, if it's a .com or whatever TLD you're using. So again, remember, if you don't have Docker, Docker-compose, and Traefik setup already running, check the links in the description for setup guides for those two setups. So Traefik is our main backbone, so we are going to be using it on every app we're going to do, so that we can have SSL certificates for those setups. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and start working on setting it up. So the first thing we're going to do is create a directory inside my folder applications, where I normally host I keep my Docker containers. So the directory name is going to be homepage, and at the same time I'm going to cd into that directory. So this is the directory. As you can see, it has nothing in it. And now I'm going also to create another directory inside here, and that directory is going to be called config for configurations. And I'm also going to create two more directories for future use, and these two directories going to be, one is going to be called images, to save images if we don't have the icons for the applications available from homepage. Then we are going to have those logos stored on the images directory. So we're also going to create another one called icons, and that's all we need for our directory setup. So we're going to have those three directories inside our main directory, which is homepage. So with that said, then we can go ahead and create the YAML file. I'm going to do sudo search, and this will be docker-compose YAML file. Let me clear this screen. So now inside this file, we're going to put in our configs for the file, and let me show you how this file should look like. I'm going to maximize this page. So let's open the GitHub main page, and this is how the compose file should look like, setting the image, the container name. And one thing to never forget with the new update is that for security purposes, now they require you to set the allowed host. This will be the IP address for the homepage server, which is hosting it. And remember to put port number. If you have a URL, then you're going to use the URL instead. So that is what we're going to set. So if we go back to our file, which is this one, I have a configuration already to set up. So starting with services, my service is homepage. This is where to get the image. The container name is a homepage. I'm introducing a file .env, and this file we're going to use it to control the environment variables instead of keeping them as open text where everybody can see, because we're also going to use those variables later on our services, so they will be handy. And after that, we're going to mount volumes. variables. Remember, we have the config, images, and icons. And on the environment, we have the user ID and group ID. And as you can see here, we have the IDs entered as text. In my case, I have them as variables in .env. Then I have allowed host, again is a variable on the env file, as you will see later. Then I'm going to set it to always try to restart unless stopped manually. And the network is web, as it is called for the traffic. Then I'm enabling traffic labels here, and adding my URL for traffic as I have set it in my DNS. If you have followed my setup for this homelab, as we started setting up from infrastructure, of which we are still doing in infrastructure at this point, we have not gotten out of it. I think this will be our final thing to set up before we start plugging in the other application. Then you will see on those videos how to maintain DNS, how to go and add your new record. That's the same again here, and that's all for these for the labels. And I'm not going to give it any privileges. And again, I'm declaring my network, it's web and it's external. And that's all for this file. So we're going ahead and save that file. With that file saved, remember we have these two environments here, 3 environments. So we are going to create the .env file. So if we do again sudo touch.env, and with that file, if we come back here, we should see it inside here. And we are going to plug in those 3 variables we are using. There we go. And we are going to update our URL in this case. So if we go back here, we can just copy this URL and have it there, and that should be it. So we can go ahead and save that file, and there we go. So with those 2 files in place, I think it's time now to spin our container. If we do docker compose up-d, this should take a few seconds. It's already done pulling the image, and it's started the container. And if I access this URL, as you can see, I'm able to access homepage. So now we are going to customize this and make it look good and add our services in here. We are going now to start customizing our dashboard, and the first place to go is if we go to this config directory, you can see now we have some files inside here that we did not have, and these are the files we need to customize. You need to customize the bookmarks, services, settings, and widgets. Those are the main configuration files that we need to touch. Without any further ado, let's start with settings. I'm going to go back here and take you to configurations. Let's go to settings, and you can see the things that you can set on this file, on the settings YAML file. You can set the title for your homepage. As you can see right now, the title is just homepage, which is the default one. You can change the description, you can add that URL, you can change the background. You can also have the background as having a background image. As you're gonna see, we're going to use exactly this image for our case. So let me go ahead and copy those configurations and plug them in on our settings YAML file. Then I can start explaining. So let's go here, settings, and we're going to paste those configuration there. I added from title, so I have title set to DK slab, I have theme as dark, and we have background. So let me save this as is, and I'm going to show you what up. So it has changed the title to DK slab. So now I'm going to also uncomment that part and save, and the refresh should work. So let me get rid of theme. That might be what is conflicting our background image. Yeah, there we go. So you have to remove the theme. Now we are going to use the background image, and this image is the same one. I just used this link as is, and the settings I'm using are, as you can see down here. You can do the same if you have a copy icon. Instead of using the one for homepage, you can put yours. I was using theme initially, so right now I'm using the background. You can go back to the theme. You can also change the color palette. Then layout, which is now down here. This is where I'm setting up how the layout will be. For example, this one, they have a layout called media, which is this one, and style is raw as it is, and the columns are for 1, 2, 3, 4. You can customize this to fit your case as you like. So in my case, this is what I have. So I'm going to uncomment the whole thing, we will see how that setup looks when we configure the other files. So the second file will be services. So let's go here, settings, we got services, and in services you can have groups. For example, on the layout, as you can see, I have a group named hypervisor. Then inside the hypervisor, I'm going to set these four columns. They are going to be inside. So this group A will be the hypervisor. Then I'm going to have a service A as the row 1. I'm going to add all other services to have the row, the four columns, not rows. So in that case, let's go to services. Let me plug in my services. I want them to be, I have quite a couple of them. So these needs to go, I think I have them aligned correctly. So let me remove this piece, and before I save this file, you can see we have my first group, my second group, my third group, which says home page is awesome, and those groups are these ones here. So we are going to remove these and be left with my setup as I want. So I want to have a calendar, the hypervisor group with 3 proxy mocks, and I think I need to have 4. For demo purposes, I'm just duplicating these configs, but make sure you go and edit them accordingly and put your services correctly. I think that will be the same for container. Let's go ahead and save this, see what we got, refresh. So as you can see, now we have our calendar. The hypervisors, I have 4 of them. Container, I needed to have 4 as well, and I'm going to refresh. Let me put it in a full page. So these are our looks for now, but we're going to do more to continue customizing. So let's go ahead and see the third file, which is widgets. Let me open this in a new tab. As you can see, the widgets they provide information about your system. Let's go look on the widgets file. So for the widgets, you can retain these as they are, or you can have your own. I like to normally put time date before the search, and then you can keep this one, or you can change this to Google instead of DuckDuckGo. You can do Google here. I need to have space. If you save this and go back here and do a search like test, a search should take you to Google, or you can turn it off. So you do a command of that, save, it's gone. The other thing we are going to add on this file is 2 APIs, the weather API and the open weather map. One thing you need to do is put a label. You don't have to put your location. I'm going to plug in the latitude for Chicago and the longitude. So I'm going to save this file. Let's refresh what we got. Not working, but yeah, it should load your location in here and your weather. So I'll work on fixing those APIs and see why they're not working. Meanwhile, let's go ahead to the other file, which is bookmarks.yml file, and inside here I'm going to plug in some configs here. So here you can put your quick links. As you can see, I just have links here for demo purposes. I have a YouTube download and Linux server, Amazon. Then I have a quick access, which is things I want to access like the chat GPT and so on. Let's go save that file. Let's refresh here and see what we got. Now this is what we have. We have this section. We can add more link to have them equal, but as you can see now, I have some quick links here for my access. This is the format to do it. So you give it an abbreviation, you pull in the icon, the URL, and give it a description. See it in full page. This is how it looks like. The descriptions are here. These are the icons. You can play with the layout as much as you want. Don't forget, we have this documentation which has everything that you need. You can get those in for widgets. The open weather API, these are needs to be set. The API key required if not using provider. And I think the reason why mine is not working is because I've not put the API key. So I'm going to set that one up. So anytime you have any issue like I'm having up here, now getting the API information, just go ahead. As you can see, I did not plug in my API key, and that is the main problem that I'm having. So in my case, I'm using provider, so I need to go and configure the keys on my providers, and the providers are on settings YAML file. As you can see, I have those providers here. So I need to plug in my keys. To use the keys, these are how you need to reference them without the quotes, just using the 2 curly braces. So let's go ahead and save this file and a quick refresh, and still we're not getting anything. All right, so I'll try to see if my keys are still working, or am I not getting any data from the API. So the reference of the keys is very okay. So I've seen what I'm doing wrong. Once I set these settings, it's always advisable to go ahead and restart your application. And as you can see, I have one API they're working, the other one is not working, and the reason is because I have double H at the start and my variable name is homepage without the double H. So if we save this, let me see if a refresh will work. Yeah, this time a refresh work. Otherwise, if it doesn't work and you know your variables and everything is set correctly, then go ahead and do a restart of your Docker. So I had to restart for the first one to work. For the second one, it was just a typo, but now we got our APIs working. That should be it for the basic setup of our homepage. So in the next video, we are going to plug in and make sure our widgets work. So we're going to create the API account for Proxmox, get the API tokens for all other apps, plug in there, get more data. And one more thing I'm going to mention is that if you want like more icons, you can go to this website, which is the pictoprogrammers.com library.mdi. They have so many icons here. For example, if you search the Python, if I can type that is, you can see they have icons. I think if you do like Plexy, yeah, here you can get more icons if you find some of the icons not available. And that's it for this setup. So as you can see, now you have a secure good looking homepage dashboard which is behind Traefik. You have SSL certificate, you have a domain name. Let's review what we did. Remember, we had Traefik and Docker installed before we did this setup. In the description you're going to find the links to those videos if you don't have those set up. Again, now we did create the directories for this setup, created the YAML file, connected it using labels to the Traefik. Then we went to the config directory, we configured the services, widgets, and all other settings. That's all we have to do for this setup. So if this video helped you out, give it a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what dashboards or self-hosted tools you want to see next. Go ahead and add all your bookmarks, links to your services. So thank you for watching, and as always, stay self-hosted, stay in control. Bye bye.